Alright, obviously you guys were the Swine Committee, and this is our State of the Farm for this year.
Today we're going to explain and educate you about the past of the swine buildings and the operation, what we're dealing with today, and where we hope to be in the future regarding our operations.
We're going to discuss a little about our past goals, talk about the different barns, taking down the farrowing barn and that. And now we're going to talk about our current goals. One of those would be getting an alarm system for the barn, and then the future goals of maybe putting up a permanent compost facility.
Alright, so 2002 the swine barn was infected with PRRS, and ever since we've had PRRS positive pigs coming in as well. So we looked into different things to try to get rid of the PRRS, figure out what processes we'd have to go through if we ever decided to get rid of, or if we ever decided to go a different route rather than Swine Graphics, maybe bring in some other contractors. And so we looked for some information on that and found some different things. After Roger retired in 2003, they had to hire another full-time employee. We took farrowing. So now we're just contract feeders.
Our present facilities, I don't know if you guys have obviously walked around out there, but we have the big barn that holds 1,200 head, and then we just got pigs last week, and we have 1,267. And then we also have the nursery, and that holds 350 head. And then once they get to about 50 pounds, they go to the small barn, which is also called the G barn. Some of our present goals is a couple of weeks ago we hung, well I wasn't here, but the grounds committee as well as the swine committee hung a new curtain up, and that's just really good to keep, obviously, heat in the barn and keep everything maintained. And then March 1, we have to submit our manure management plan to the DNR. And this year we only have to do a short form, which is good, but next year they have to redo all the p-values and everything. And then something that we really want to get pushed this semester is a alarm system, because if the heater would go out, or if the water would turn off, or the electricity would turn off, we have no backup system. So, I mean, Greg's mostly here, but if it was a situation where it's 30 below, like it was last week, or 20 below, Greg's on vacation, the part-time guy, just left, and the heaters go out. Well, we're going to lose a lot of hogs. And the swine teaching farm had a similar situation happen last year with them, and they actually lost 200 pigs. So that obviously wouldn't be good. So it's a kind of a cheap insurance policy. So we're in the process of getting bids for that. So it would be the cheaper, and whether it'd be cheaper to do a wireless system or a system where they dredge the lines. And then we also, Greg was at a meeting a couple weeks ago, and the university has a couple nurseries to get rid of, and we are looking into maybe purchasing those and talking to them. We haven't heard back from Dr. Moracle, but that's kind of a process because they were donated by the pork industry, and the Iowa pork industry, whatever it's called, sorry, and so they can't actually get rid of them, they can't sell them. So if we could get them at a reasonable price, and Swine Graphics would want that contract space, it would definitely be a great income for the farm. And then once the weather is good, we need to get that build farrowing building picked up, and that will be in conjunction probably with the grounds committee. And then when we did our budget, we're currently profiting about $15,000 a year, and that's, since we contract, that's money we can count on. It's not, are we going to lose it, are we going to get it, as long as we keep the facilities up to date. Swine Graphics, they're going to keep supplying us with hogs and paying us for hog space. And the future,
We're going to continue to operate with the nurseries. We're contracted $10 I think for nursery pigs. So that'll be additional income. We're not sure on how much they can totally hold yet because Morrill hasn't gotten back to us on that. So that'd be additional income had we decide to go ahead and buy those. We also want to do the all-weather compost facility because right now we don't really have a very good compost facility. Really much one of all. Update facilities, and then also look at the effect of the PRRS on the pigs and future suppliers and other things like that.
If you're wondering, you don't have any hog background, PRRS is porcine, reproductive, and respiratory syndromes. It's been a while since I read up on it, but especially is a prominent in farrowing buildings because of obviously the reproductive part, but then the respiratory part is what we're dealing with more with heavy breathing and those type of problems. So that's why it's a major concern for us to look at long term. Questions?
Of course, I will always have questions, so let them start. I've got a couple. I'll start with one. Go back to your present facility slide real quickly. You state that our big barn holds 1,200 head, but we have 1,267 head in there. Do you have any of the numbers from the past couple of years on what we've been given from Swine Graphics, or how that number relates? And for the average Joe who doesn't know much about hogs, why 67 over 1,200?
Typically give us like 50 to 75 over, so that we have a little bit of area for death loss. Last year, though, even with them all being loaded with PRRS, I think we lost 24 total. So that's pretty, or last cycle, I guess. They did a pretty good job on that. Part of our contract is, it doesn't matter what our death loss rate is, they're still going to pay us per pig space. But obviously, if you have a lot more death loss, then they're going to probably cut our contract and tell us, Greg does a very good job keeping on top of that, and actually with the conditions of how the pigs have come in, he's actually done very well with what we had so far.
Go ahead, because you guys may have some good follow-ups on that.
What are they paying for pig space as a crusher?
$37 per pig space.
For the big barn, and then when we get them in the nursery, they're obviously a lot smaller, and we get $10 per head of space for that.
Is there a premium for less death loss or anything?
It's just
That's
is what it is.
okay.
And that's good for us because since we have PRRS, I mean, Greg does a great job, and Swine Graphics has commented on that. So, I mean, if we just don't know how much it'll affect our hogs. So, I know some custom hog contractors, they'll offer different premiums, but with the PRRS, and it's just kind of good to just go with a flat rate. So.
You probably haven't had this opportunity, and actually this kind of lends itself really nicely to an in-depth analysis of strategic issue assignment. But what is our actual cost, and you probably don't know the answer, and I don't expect you to think about this. What's our actual cost per pig space based on 1,200 head? And then the real question is, if they're always giving us more, we have labor costs, we have water costs, we have electricity costs. So is the extra head they're giving us actually costing us in the long run or not? So I don't know if you had a chance to talk with Nick about any of those kind of things, or with Greg. I know that was discussed and was a little bit of an issue last semester, because I think they even gave us more head than that on the last batch. So.
I think if we were still paying for our buildings, that would obviously really contribute to our cost per head or per pig space. But since all our buildings are paid off, except there's still a loan out for the G barn for when they updated it, and then a few years ago when they decided to buy, maybe it was more like 4 years ago, they decided to buy a bunch of feeder pigs. They're still paying that loan off. But since our big barn is paid for, I mean, everything capital-wise is paid for. It's just the loans for the upkeep and some remodeling issues. I guess I don't know. And then Swine Graphics also pays for all the feed. So we're not paying to feed those extra pigs.
I talked to a representative from Mercury Brown too, and they said they'd only pay $30 $32 for fixed fix, so really, and really their premiums weren't even that good. It was like $1.50 if you kept them, I mean, if you kept everything alive that they brought in, so, I mean, you're looking at, $5 more already, so you're probably winning in the